welcome back, everyone, to the VHS Vault once again, and welcome to any new viewers who are joining on board today. I am one of your hosts, one of the lesser hosts here, Jason, and next to me is the star of the show, Jason Boy Gaston, and the VHS Vault. Here we are. Tonight was my pick. It was my turn. So I picked this film because I have strong feelings about this movie. Not knowing whether you had seen it before or not, and I threw it on the list. So, Midnight Run it is.
Yes.
Robert De Niro, Charles Grodin. Jason, Indeed. What did you know of this film before I put this?
I had heard the title, and I know who Robert De Niro is, and I know who Charles Grodin is, and that's it. That's all I knew.
I know right now, in unison, out there who are watching this video, jaws are dropping as they speak. I think people are shocked that you haven't seen this film.
Okay, I have not seen every movie that has ever been released. I'm sure there's a big movie any number of you people out there watching have never seen, and I spread no shame. I call you not out. I simply understand that you too are human.
Well, I personally count on the diversity we have. We have a lot of shared films that we both love. I think that's agreed. But there are a lot of films that either of us haven't seen and are quite different than we watch. So I think that adds value. So I'm backing you up there, sir. So, Midnight Run. Now, at this point in Robert De Niro's career, we've seen him in comedies at this point. You know, by the time he got to, he started with Analyze This or whatever, and it just comedy. At this point in his career, he had not done a comedy. And so this is his first probably main studio comedy he's ever done, which I thought was interesting at its time. He had actually just come off film Untouchables and wanted to do something very, very different.
I also haven't seen that one.
And certainly, straight off of that, Jason, look how good physically he looks then.
Yeah, he's definitely in his prime at this point. Of course, I don't think Robert De Niro's ever been out of his prime, but, you know, it's just he could be in 192 and still walk in and be like, oh, crap, it's Robert De Niro. I pooped my pants. He pooped his pants. Run.
He's actually got this tradition now of a lot of the older stars that are just working all the time these days. All the aging stars that we know of and that. Their work ethic in their 80s and 90s is unbelievable. I mean, they're out there.
Yeah.
But going back to this is, Midnight, a film I saw on video, fell in love with this film. I like the energy of this film. And for me, it certainly comes from the era of buddy films, and it's certainly in that genre. But I thought then, and I stand by it today, it's one of the best of that genre, subgenre, if it is. I'll get into a lot more of that. I'm really interested to hear your thoughts on Midnight Run.
Well, I certainly enjoyed it. If I had to draw a parallel to me, and this is such a strange parallel, it was very close, I thought, to Planes, Trains, and Automobiles. So if Steve Martin had taken John Candy as a prisoner, that's what this movie reminded me of. I certainly agree with the energy. The energy was terrific, and the chemistry between the stars was fantastic. The supporting players were awesome. Send one up to Joe Pantoliano. I really liked him in this movie. And
you got the Duke.
Yeah, I really enjoyed it because it was from a time when, I don't know, test audiences were not as big of a deal, and studios were a little bit more brave about what they put out. And so an R-rated buddy comedy that has this almost dramatic seam running through it really worked for me, because I really enjoyed the way not only that I laughed at these two, but I genuinely cared about them. I cared about both of them. I wanted Robert De Niro to get his man, and at the same time, I didn't want to see Charles Grodin go to jail. So I was really torn at the end and in the middle and in the beginning. But I just absolutely adored not only that, but these characters are smart. I love that these characters are so smart.
They are. It's a battle of wits in many ways, but you talked about the ending. This movie, remember, it ends, to fast forward right to it, on a very well-earned emotional friendship moment. Doesn't end with an explosion or a shootout. It ends with a very earned, wonderfully done moment, which I thought was like, it's always a good testament of the film. But there's a lot to love about this. Charles Grodin, not the studio's first pick. They didn't want Charles Grodin. They wanted a big star. They wanted a Cher or a Robin Williams to co-star by DeNiro, and it was a chemistry read that kind of sold, that got Grodin, which thank you very much, because his everyman Robin Hood type of character that is such a great juxtaposition to Robert De Niro's, New York gruff kind of manner. That's a perfect kind of antidote. But you know who one of the big stars in this film for me is, besides Joey Pants and all that? It's John Ashton, who played a cop in Beverly Hills Cop, playing the other bounty hunter trying to chase them down.
Yeah, he was a lot of fun.
He's fantastic. Such a moron, but just really great.
He's the proverbial bull in a china shop in every single scene he's in. It's like they could be in the most delicate situation. He bursts through the wall like Kool-Aid Man, go, "Oh yeah!" and then several profanities. I every time he showed up, I don't know, I felt like I had to cringe, but he would just show up and I'd go.
And I love
his ability to ruin everything.
And like the parallel of Planes, Trains, and Automobiles, they go on this journey throughout vehicles. And like Planes, Trains, and Automobiles, it's not like stitched together awkwardly or just happenstance. There's a reason why they've had to go from a plane to a train to a bus to a vehicle to a stolen cop car. Like there's, the amount of things they kind of get into. And it's Robert De Niro, who at the time was not known for comedies, who's really good playing Jack Walsh in this, really kind of good. And you're trying to find what's his sense of humor, and I think it's summed up in that moment when the FBI or the CIA does, the FBI throwing them all into the back of the car, and he grabs he looks at everyone with the sunglasses and then puts them on. And the amazing Yaphet Kotto in this movie just playing the most frustrated dude. Just stealing his, like Robert De Niro then gets out of the car, steals the idea, and does a kind of like a goofy taunt. I think it was not planned, but he does that turn to the camera with the flashing his FBI badge. Okay, and
I was wondering, and for some reason I didn't think about this until the movie was over with. Did that FBI badge have a picture on it? And was he just like hiding it with his hand every time he held it up?
It might not have had a picture on there.
I don't know. It just seems so strange that an ID wouldn't. And to me, the fact that he might have been holding it up and covering the photo of Yaphet Kotto, who, I'm sorry, looks nothing like Robert De Niro in the least little bitty bit, just made it all the more funnier. Not only that, but the fact that they did that allegedly and never called attention to it.
Special Agent Alonzo Mosley. Yeah.
I'm Alonzo Mosley.
Even that little moment in the plane, he's forging an ID on the plane. And this sweet little kid where he just kind of like looks to the kid to say, "Did I do a good job?" And he's like, "Yeah." No, there's a lot to love about this film. It's got a real heart to it as well. And surprising, and why this movie has endured over the time, it's got a pretty strong fan base, is because of the heart they infuse in this with the characters, with Jack Walsh and his family dynamic, and slowly being revealed over the movie that he was to go, he had to leave the police force, and the fact that it's intertwined with that as well, which is great, which I really love. And Charles Grodin, who there's a lot of naivety to him, and it gives that purity to him, and he's funny, subtle ways, which is why Charles Grodin And he's really on show in this film as well.
Oh yeah, I definitely agree. Charles Grodin, it's so strange because you don't normally see the fish out of water in these types of movies, and that's what Charles Grodin struck me as. But at the same time, I just wonder how much of that was a con, because so much of it just seemed like, especially near the end, just seems like he is putting on this air of, I'm just this sweet, innocent little guy, and I don't know what's going on, and I'm just so helpless. And I'm just wondering how much of that was a put on. And I have a feeling I can watch this movie again and look at certain scenes and go,
Again,
it doesn't make him unappealing, though. I like that, though.
No. It also adds another element to that closing scene, doesn't it? Because he's got the money bill, and it puts everything into question on how he was playing this. And I'll be honest, the first time I watched it, and I'm sure you had this reaction, I bought 100% he had a genuine fear of flying.
I did too.
Yeah. I didn't even think about it or go back to it until it's kind of revealed when he starts to try to fly off in that old biplane.
When Robert De Niro goes around that corner and sees that plane going by with Charles Grodin in it, I lost it. I started giggling just incessantly, going, that son of a gun.
And it's fun, you know. And I think that's the thing about this movie. And it's, you know, we want to see more of these films. You know, you go back to this, Jason. What's this say? This is a $30 million budget film. Very common in the 80s to make these types of movies. $30 million. And they were always profitable. This one made $81 million at the box office. So no matter what, this was profitable with the studio. And I miss these type of kind of movies because there's still a moral center to these films, but they really push it. And this film is like the language. I mean, we're used to the language now, but even back in 1988, the language of this was also half the comedy, you know, because you're not expected to be so profane. But you know, one of my favorite moments actually doesn't involve any swearing at all. It's the moment they're in the bar and Charles Grodin convinces these poor barmen that they have counterfeit money.
Oh my gosh. I love the way that Robert De Niro just falls in line with it without even questioning. And of course, you know, Charles Grodin takes that opportunity to start like berating him. It's like, are you doing it right? Yeah, I'm doing it right. Make sure you're doing that right. I just love
this kind of cold stillness that Charles Grodin pulls out. Like the way he talks to him, he's slow and he's purposeful and he lets her come. That was another sign that everything's a con. Like this man is way smarter than me because he's able to come up with that scam so quickly. But you don't really think about it in the film because you're just enjoying what's kind of going. The lack of love interest, I think, is a plus for this film.
Yeah, that's
Charles Grodin's got a loyal wife. That's done with, and he doesn't get along with his ex, and we deal with that in a really normal, probably honest way. You know what I mean? There wasn't kind of any, rekindling anything. I just want you out of my house, dude. Get out of my house. And yeah.
Those of us with exes fully get that scene too. It's like, you just take what you need and go. Just get out, please.
Just get out.
Yeah.
Some of the we mentioned a couple of them, but I just want to go over some of the supporting cast. Lots of familiar faces in this movie, right? Playing smaller roles in this, including the great Dennis Farina playing Jimmy Serrano, the big boss. You know,
yes,
that guy's around here.
Yes.
Yeah, Philip Baker Hall. Philip Baker Hall is. He's been in films like Mongolia, Boogie Nights. He's a great actor. He, you know what he's most known for? Playing the Liberian investigator in Seinfeld.
I didn't watch Seinfeld.
That old guy. You never watched Seinfeld?
I watched a little bit of it.
Out there.
Yeah, I know. I watched a little bit of it. I'm going to be honest. Sitcoms were never my thing. It's like as soon as I hit my late teens, I just kind of checked out of the sitcom game, and I just never.
I'm just surprised you don't know that moment just based on social media clips. But there you go.
I know what the Soup Nazi is, if that helps.
Yeah, Joey Pants, who's quite a young Joey Antolino in this, but you can still try. He's amazing in that role.
He is. He's great in everything he does.
That slimy kind of role. I even love the guy the one that was actually feeding information.
Mm-hmm.
That guy as well. I just gotta go get some donuts. You know, he played a real good sleazy. But there are this whole movie is just filled with faces that you know, meaning they're actually all good actors in this film, because I think this film would fail dismally if it wasn't for the chemistry and the timing of everything, because it hangs on DeNiro and Grodin chemistry.
Yes,
it really does.
Yeah, well, the movie is like 85% them just like having conversations or getting into shenanigans with each other. Yeah, it's a great love-hate relationship between the two of them, that, you know, the hate kind of goes away towards the end, the love grows, and I don't know, I just enjoyed just watching these two.
It's smart dialogue too, because they're dealing with big things. They're actually challenging each other in a way that doesn't feel like it's being forced down your throat. It just feels like they're having this back and forward. But they change. Like, you see, characters genuinely change. Well, we see DeNiro genuinely change, I think, over this film, and it's a shame it took so many years after this film to do another comedy, and then to be most of them sucked. But
okay. He was amazing in The Adventures of Rocky and Bullwinkle, and if you say differently, it's because your tastes are pedantic and you are just cynical and mean on the inside.
Hey, I would actually almost challenge you and say Jason Alexander was better.
Jason Alexander and Rene Russo were
Rene Russo and Jason Alexander were amazing.
We're putting this movie in the VHS vault. We're doing it. We're doing it. I don't know when we're going to do it. It's going to be 2026, but by God, it's going in the vault. It's happening.
We have to mention, obviously, Meet the Parents. DeNiro is amazing.
Yes, he was great in that one.
No question about that. Even Analyze This, he was okay playing that kind of mob boss, but nothing new there. But he's really great in this. Yes. And certainly it's a film that I definitely would go back and revisit this film, because it's got an ageless quality as well to it, which I think was something that I noticed on this rewatch. Yeah, it's set in the 80s, but it's good that it has the technology restrictions. It's good that he has to go to a phone box, and it would be really hard to make this type of film today without just being multiple scenes on your mobile phone and explaining that you've got a bad signal, the battery's dead. Well,
that's why most horror movies take place in the 80s and 70s now. It's because they want to take that technology away, and I get it.
It's so much easier to ride around,
Yeah. We're only months or years away from a horror movie starring an Amish family. That's it. I mean, it would make sense. No technology.
How come someone hasn't done that on a bigger scale? I bet you someone's made one. But
you could argue maybe, but that was the period piece, though.
I think you could do something really rad with today's.
Oh yeah,
I reckon you could make a really great Amish horror film. The question would be, would they be the heroes or the villains? And I personally would make them the heroes.
I would too. There's enough Amish hate as it is right now.
Exactly. No, they are the heroes. Yeah. Well, they're pure, like the way they live their lives and their religion is very much. It would be a hard sell to kind of say, well, these people, the most environmentally friendly people on the planet. Don't really want to hurt anyone. Well, no matter what you scream at them, you got a flat tire, they'll stop and help you. Like, okay, they're weird. Don't get me wrong, but anyway, how are we getting to Amish, talking about Amish people on the show? I don't know.
I don't know. The Ring 4 should be a Amish kid who sees the tape at a friend's house, and then he goes home, and then Samara spends the rest of the movie trying to figure out how to get him. She's like, this is a tough one. Does he have a smartwatch? No.
Is he on an iPad? No.
I have to walk all the way there. Do you have any idea how hard that is when you're soaking wet?
Yeah. Yeah, and she got joint problems as well, clearly.
Oh, sure.
You'd have to have it, wouldn't you? No, this film's a lot of fun. I don't know much more to say, except this is a huge recommend for me if you haven't seen it. It's a fun movie to watch. It's the kind of movie I would recommend if you're having a bad day or you're just needing get away from a moment, this is one of those films that you can let wash over you and you get something for it. It's a good, it's a good value movie. You get your value for money and you go to cinema to see a movie. And this was.
I have to agree. They don't make movies like this anymore. And honestly, there's no reason why they don't, because it's simple in its execution. There's nobody trying to mug to the camera. It's just two guys being genuine, and the situation makes it funny. And there's no gross out humor. There's no like somebody getting thrown into the wall with CGI because an airbag went off. It's just simple, basic, and as you said, timeless. And I don't know if I would put it in my top buddy adventure movies, but after a couple more rewatches, who knows? I've only seen it once. I will definitely see it again. It's
in my top 5 for sure. Being probably Planes, Trains, Automobiles, Lethal Weapon, 48 Hours. Yeah, this is number 4. And number 5 I could pick out pretty easy. And that comes from a huge list. But yeah, it's up there. I think it's quality. And I think when you go back and we'll walk into a room one day and it's on TV. Yeah, there you go, eh? Here's a little fun fact for you. It was filmed all through California, Arizona, and New Zealand.
New Zealand? It's a bit of a detour.
For one particular scene, the rapid scene. After the scene where they dive off into the river, which is shot in Arizona, they had, for safety reasons, the only one they could find was in New Zealand, and they shot the bit where they're going down a bit more rapids. Long way to go to get a shot, right? It's a long way definitely. To go.
Odd. But you know what? I would rather them do it for real in New Zealand than do it with CGI and make it look goofy.
Yep, there you go.
Not that they had the technology back then. I'm just saying, like, if they made the movie today, I'd rather see real water than fake water.
Also, shout out to the soundtrack. Real fun, energetic soundtrack.
Yes.
Boy, Danny Elfman. Danny Elfman composed this movie and really creates a fun, like, adventure soundtrack. A bit more traditional by his standards, but still very effective. So I wanted to give him a shout out as well. So, but yeah, great movie. A lot of fun on the VHS Vault. I'm glad you enjoyed it, Jason.
I did, yes.
I would have been very perplexed to go, I hate this movie. This movie sucks.
This movie is garbage.
It's
should be thrown away as garbage. No, I enjoyed it. I thought it was a lot of fun. Like I said, I don't know if I would call it one of my favorites, but I see the quality. I understand why people like it. And who knows, after another rewatch or two, maybe it'll creep its way into my favorites repertoire.
It's a mass appeal film. There's no doubt about it.
Yes.
It's designed to be a mass appeal film. No doubt. Anyway, I wonder if you'll be saying horrible things about next week's film that we're doing. We move back to the DC universe, but we're now doing Man of Steel. So that will be next on the VHS Vault. But no matter how you feel about Man of Steel, I all think we have got the perfect antidote, the episode afterwards with the great, and I'm putting it out there. Now, we're going to talk about top 5. This has got to live in my top 5 of animated films of all time. And that is The Iron Giant, Jason. So I'm looking forward to
another
next
another
Patreon
request. Another Patreon request. So, yeah. And
then, that's brilliant.
And then, of course, after that, go back to the DC universe. We got to do Batman v Superman. Why did you say
Dawn of Justice?
Yeah, Dawn of Justice. Justice. Dawn of Martha. And then I guess we can announce this one because you have another choice here.
Okay.
And I got to say, this is one of my favorite horror movies of all time.
I don't even know what I chose.
Gate. Yes. I love The Gate so much.
That's why we're friends. Because if you hate The Gate, I don't want to know you.
Yeah, little baby face Steven Dorff and little nerd guy and some of the creepiest special effects.
I was going to say some of the best for that year. There is a moment where that demon falls in the kitchen. That is unbelievably good.
The camera work they did with forced perspective in this movie was not matched again until they did the Lord of the Rings movies.
Yeah. Yeah, no, it's really fantastic. And people forget about it. There's lots of
Yeah.
people go, "Oh, you're horror fans." You go, "You've seen The Gate?" No, I've never seen it. What? So, but there
I
you go.
did the.
We'll get
I've seen The Gate too,
yes, of course. I couldn't
which
wait.
is which is
I hired
different.
it the first weekend it came out in video. I couldn't
Yeah.
see it at cinema, but I was waiting for that thing to drop on video.
It was different. I'll give it that. It was different. Well, maybe we'll talk about that one
I
day.
give
But
that
first, we got
experience to the House versus House 2 experience.
Yeah, again,
For me.
not bad, just very different.
It took me a while to find the charm of House 2. Took me about 3 or 4 watches, and then I kind of dug it.
I got the charm at first. It's a bit more screwball than the first movie.
It's far more kid
I'm
orientated.
Still looking for the charm of House 3. Still looking for it.
It's a weird film, that one.
It's
Hey,
not
you know
for me.
what? We may be teasing a little mini horror retrospective series. Maybe we'll have to have a look at House one day.
Yeah, and then another horror movie comes after The Gate. It's Justice League.
Oh yeah, that is a horror. You know how sometimes you get movies that do jump scares at the beginning of the film. This has a great jump scare at the beginning of the film in Justice League. Unintentional jump scare, but it's there.
I don't remember. I think I've only seen.
Well, there's
Justice
a certain
League.
mustache missing, which is one
Oh
of the most
my
horrific
God!
things
Yes.
I've ever seen. And I'm surprised you didn't get the jump scare. It's just like, did they make his lip 2 times longer? It looks so disproportionate.
Hello, children. Why are you running away from me, children? Come back. I'm
That's right.
Superman.
I will talk about it. Well, actually,
Yeah, we'll talk
but
about
the way
that
he
one
talks
time.
to those kids. We'll get into that. So, yeah, that'll be a lot of fun. So, lots of fun coming inside the VHS. Lots of good stuff coming our way, your way, and our way, everybody's way. Jason, we love the guys being involved, interacting, and being part of the show. How can they help continue to be part of the show?
My friends, my brothers, my sisters, please lend me your ear and then lend me your eyes, because I want you to look down below in the video description. You will find a link to our Patreon where you can donate as little as $5 a month to our cause, the cause being shenanigans in the VHS Vault and other things such as the Power of J-Skull, Jalapeno, and all of the other stupid junk we do on this channel. You can also become a channel member by visiting our main page, and either way, you get videos early. Way early, and you get some exclusive videos that very few people on the outside have seen, including a certain story that I told involving explosive diarrhea, because we like to keep it classy. So please join us on Patreon, join us as a channel member, give us money.
I can't think of a better way to finish the show than that.
Explosive diarrhea.
See you next time, guys.